To another edition of Inside the GIAA, presented by the Beck Center in the Beck Center Studios. That's Rich. This is Thrift, and we want to say thank y'all so much for joining us. A special two-show edition this week. I say special because next week we'll have like 3 or 4 we're going to be doing live from CSU. But we are here to get you ready for the quarterfinals. Yep, basketball quarterfinals are upon us. 32 games in 2 days, 4 different classifications. We're going to find out who's moving on to the Final Four at ABAC and Columbus State University. We'll talk about those brackets as the first and second rounds happened yesterday and on Tuesday. Big Rich, how you doing?
Doing great. Wow, what a great action in the first round matchups of the past couple of days. And I'm excited to preview the quarterfinals. They're going to be at 3 locations in Macon.
Yeah, Stratford, FPD, and Tatnall. All right, we're going to say other news and notes. Remember, it is $15 to get in for adults, $10 for students. That is $15 for adults, $10 for students at each one of these locations. Games start at 12 o'clock, Richard, at Stratford and Tatnall. And then they start at 3 o'clock at FPD. Yes. We'll have games going all day, 16 games on Friday, and then another 16 games on Saturday. Girls on Friday, boys on Saturday. Rich, let's do it. While everybody's here, let's talk about what's going on.
Right. Let's pull up the brackets.
So Memorial Day, the number 1 seed, they're going to be taking on Crisp. Crisp was able to take down John Hancock. Good win for them. Fullington, the 5 seed, dismantles Westwood, and they'll be taking on St. George's at 1:30 at Stratford. At Tatnall, so we got Stratford games are Memorial and Crisp at 12, and then right after them, St. George's and Fullington at 1:30. At Tatnall at 12, it's Robert Toombs and 2 seed taking on Thomas Jefferson. They take down Twiggs, and all chalk in that first round as David Emmanuel takes down Flint River, the 6 seed. They will take on Citizens Christian at 1:30 against Tatnall. In that first round, anything stand out to you, and what quarterfinal matchup are you looking forward to with the girls 1A classification?
I'm really looking forward to the defending champion, Robert Toombs, taking on Thomas Jefferson. They got by Twiggs, but also the matchup I'm really looking forward to is I always love the 5-4 matchup because it's always a close, contested game. Fullington Academy taking on St. George. And, of course, these are going to be the early games on Friday. Starting at 12, you got Memorial Day and Crisp. So that's going to be a great atmosphere at 2 places in the single A classification for the girls, at Stratford and at Tatnall. And they're actually going to be going on at the same time at 12 and 1:30.
Well, I can't wait to see those games play out, Richard. Now let's talk about the boys 1A classification. And let's look at the first round. Memorial Day takes down Grace Christian in an 8-9 matchup. Memorial Day came in 6-17. Grace Christian came 12-9, and the 6-17 team won. Again, shows you record matters, but then it also matters who you played, and that matters a little bit more. They'll take on the number 1 seed, FPCA, at 12 o'clock at Stratford on Saturday. At 1:30 at Stratford, right after them, Robert Toombs, the 4 seed, will take on Oak Mountain. Oak Mountain was able to take down Westwood. Oak Mountain now goes to 19-6 on the year. LaGrange, the number 2 seed, 14-7. They take on Thomas Jefferson, our first upset. Thomas Jefferson, 11-9, takes down 7 seed Atlanta Jewish Academy, who was 7-12. The 10 seed Thomas Jefferson will take on LaGrange at Tatnall, 12 o'clock on Friday, and then right after that at 1:30, Citizens Christian, the 3 seed, will take on St. George's as they. St. George's goes to 15-8. They took down Covenant in that 6-11 matchup, and they'll play at 1:30 against Tatnall. Rich, thoughts?
Yeah, the one thing that I love about this bracket, First Preparatory Christian, the defending champions, they are the number 1 seed taking on Memorial Day. I'm really intrigued by that matchup. That's going to be Saturday at 12 o'clock. I know that again, we've got 12 and 1:30 games in the 1A boys classification. I'm excited. I'm going to be on the call for number 2 LaGrange and Thomas Jefferson. This has been a while since LaGrange Academy has been this far in the GIAA. And then, of course, the runners-up from last year, Citizens Christian, taking on a very talented St. George's team. Always the 5-4 matchup is intriguing because of Robert Toombs and Oak Mountain and just the style they play. That's going to be a great game as well.
All right, let's talk about the boys, Rich. 2A, waiting on you. Girls, excuse me, girls. I apologize, Rich. Were you not going to say anything?
You are the host, Thrift.
Number 1 seed, Brentwood. They take on Sherwood Christian, and then 8-9. Sherwood goes to 13-8. They take down 17-9 Briarwood, and good win for Sherwood. They'll take on Brentwood 3 o'clock at Tatnall on Friday. The game right after them is 4:30. Edmund Burke, as they'll take on Gatewood. The Gatewood, the number 5 seed, they beat Georgia Christian. Gatewood goes to 19-7. Are the Gators on the year now after that win? Looking forward to that quarterfinal matchup. 4:30 at Tatnall on Friday. At 6 o'clock at Tatnall, and now these games all go in a row. At 6 o'clock at Tatnall, and all the 2A girls will be at Tatnall. At 6 o'clock, Trinity Christian, the number 2 seed, will host Windsor. Windsor takes down Heritage, and Windsor goes to 20-7. Get win number 20 on the season. Great job by Windsor. And then Southland, they lost in a major upset. Southland goes to 18-8, and Central Fellowship Christian Academy was 12-15. A team that you said, Richard, you picked it. You said, hey, I'm telling you, watch out for that team. And I scratched my head. I'm like, Richard, you're crazy.
They're the defending champions, Thrift.
And defending champions, they found a way to win. They took down Southland, and they will take on Southwest Georgia at 7:30 at Tatnall. Rich, thoughts?
As much as I would love the Central Fellowship run to the championship, I think that Southwest Georgia, I think it might be too much for them. Southwest Georgia probably gets by as this is actually a rematch of the Final Four matchup last year that Central Fellowship was able to get by. I think Southwest Georgia realizes that Central Fellowship that went on that run last year, it looks like they're about to go on the run. That's not a team that you want to take lightly, but I think the Southwest Georgia is going to be ready for that game. I think that this is Brentwood. They feel like they were the number 1 overall seed last year. They're the number 1 overall seed this year. They got something to prove. I think they take care of business against Sherwood Christian. Edmund Burke Gatewood, I love that 5-4 matchup. We have Trinity Christian Windsor. That's going to be a fantastic matchup.
Wow.
All at Tatnall. It's at one place all day on Friday. I think that's really cool. Starting at 3 all the way until 7:30. So these teams can just stay at one place and they could watch the entire bracket if they like. You're not at 2 separate locations. You're like not at 2 separate locations, Thrift.
You're right, Rich. And now you can see who's all in that going to make it to the semifinals.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Everybody take a moment of silence and deep breath for Big Rich, the Rambler. Just got it out. And by the way, to this weekend, we're going to have the Rambler Big Rich. But we got Macon's finest. We call him the Rambler of Macon.
Yeah. Quavo.
And I want to somehow, some way, for us to have a Richard Holdridge, Brett Taylor broadcast and see who can talk the most.
I think we're going to have to do it maybe Saturday morning.
Another upset happened. The 9 seed Augusta Prep in the boys takes down Southwest Georgia, Richard, as Augusta Prep goes to 14-8. Southwest Georgia out. They'll take on Heritage School at 3 o'clock. Tatnall, same thing for the boys. All 2A boys quarterfinals are at Tatnall starting at 3 o'clock. Remember, earlier in the day is the 1A classification. At 4:30, Central Fellowship, the 4 seed, will take on Westminster. Westminster took down St. Mary's, and they go to 15-7 on the year. Does the 5 seed. Heritage Prep takes down Sherwood Christian, and Heritage Prep goes to 12-7 on the season. Sherwood goes to 10-11. So they'll be taking on Fertile Prep, which I think we both feel like there's a Fertile Heritage School rematch in the making.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Brentwood, though, don't sleep on them. 22-2, the 3 seed. They'll be hosting Southland, the 6 seed. This time, the boys, they don't get upset like the girls against number 11 Trinity Christian. Southland goes to 19-8 on the year. That Brentwood game should be fun at 7:30 on Saturday. 2A classification, Rich.
I'm looking forward to Southland Academy possibly getting the upset over Brentwood.
No, you like that upset?
Academy, out of Americus, Georgia, where they have a lot of basketball talent over there with Sumter County. I think that Southland Academy, with the girls losing as the 6th seed, I think that they're going to be extra motivated to try to get that win. I think Fertile Prep, they advance to the semifinals at A-back. And then we got Heritage taking on Central Fellowship. I think we're going to have chalk. The only upset I see, I think Southland Academy takes down Brentwood.
Southland Academy takes down Brentwood. Are you calling that upset, Rich?
I am calling that upset right now.
Are you willing to go on record?
I'm willing to go on record, and I will eat crow if Brentwood ends up winning.
Everyone, you heard it.
Rich, heard it here on the GIAA show.
Rich will eat crow, and he will do it. Rich,
okay,
take the lead.
All right. Well, we Andrews. Move on.
Yeah, St. Andrews, by the way, goes to 14-13 on the year, Rich, as they take down Tift area. So big win for them.
West Schools of Augusta ends up beating Deerfield Windsor. We pretty much have had chalk. Dominion Christian beats Pinewood Christian. John Millage, who went to the championship last year, now is a 6th seed. And I can't wait for this matchup. John Millage versus Westfield School.
Wow.
Sign me up for that. That is going to be a fantastic match.
3:35, 6:30, 8 o'clock. Those are the times. All of them are going to be at Stratford. 3:30, 5, 6:30, and 8. Oh, excuse me,
yeah,
FPD.
at FPD.
All 3A classification games are at FPD. They also start later. Frederica and St. Andrews. Frederica, the only undefeated team in the GIAA at 20-0. All right, Rich. I look forward to seeing how those are going to play out. The game I look forward to, Westminster 18-6 taking on Lakeview.
4-5 matchup right there.
Boys, Brookwood, the number 1 seed. Richard, they got that bye, and they'll be taking on Westfield. Westfield got one of their first playoff wins in the last couple of seasons. Great job by them as they take down John Millage, Richard, in a very highly contested game. They go to Valwood takes down Pinewood. Valwood goes to 19-7 on the year. They'll take on the number 4 seed Deerfield Windsor, who has 20 wins on the year.
Yep.
Frederica boys, who are 11-10, took down Piedmont. Piedmont is a great program. Got to see them. They came in second in their region, but lose, and they go to 13-14. Frederica takes on St. Andrews, the defending champion, number 2 seed. And the number 6 seed Tift area, they take down Dominion Christian. Tift area goes 17-9. They'll take on number 3 seed Lakeview, who is 20-7 on the year. 3-8, Rich, what we got?
Well, first of all, I think champion St. Andrews is going to get by Frederica to take on Lakeview, which would be a rematch of the Final Four matches taking place at CSU last year. Brookwood, again, the number 1 seed. They were the runners-up last year to St. Andrews. I expect another Final Four rematch between Brookwood and Deerfield Windsor. Although that Deerfield Windsor Valwood game is very intriguing because that's a rivalry game. Battle of Valdosta versus Albany. I cannot wait for that. And all these games are going to be at FPD. And so those are going to be on Saturday, and it should be a lot of fun.
All right, let's go to the 4A girls, Rich. Rich, I'm looking forward to this classification. They got some big-time games. How about Tallulah Falls upsets over the Kings Academy, and they will be taking on Athens Christian this weekend at Stratford starting at 3 o'clock as they are going to be they were able to, again, take down Tallulah Falls. They go to now. Kings Academy does 17-3 on the year. Excuse me, Tallulah Falls beat Kings Academy, and they go to 7-13, and that shows you, again, they came in 6-13. Kings Academy 16-3. Why we recommend you play a tougher schedule, because when you get to the playoffs, you play the elite. Number 5, Loganville takes down Brookstone, and Loganville wins big in that one by 30. They go to 19-9. They'll take on Mount DeSales. Coach Carroll at 4:30 at Stratford. At 6 o'clock, Stratford will take on the defending 2-time state champion Pacelli. They take down Bullock in a good one. They go to 15-8. That should be a lot of fun. Stratford and Pacelli played in the Final Four last year. Remember, that one was a good game.
Yeah.
And then George Walton, the number 3 seed George Walton, 17-4 in the year. They take on FPD. FPD dismantled Bethlehem Christian. They go to 17-11. Coach Wasden's team looking for an upset over George Walton. Rich, any thoughts? What's the upset you can see could happen?
Well, I think that Pacelli could upset Stratford. They did not forget. They were a 3 seed last year going up against Stratford, a 2 seed, and they still feel, if you're the 2-time defending champions, I think they got a good shot at Stratford. Now, they had some injuries, and they're well coached, and they play with 7 to 8 players, but I think that they play well as a team. I think they'll find out a way to possibly get a win, but this is the home court advantage for Stratford Academy. That could be a big factor. Hopefully the fans from Columbus can make that trip to Macon. FPD, always a very talented team taking on George Walton. I'm looking forward to the 4-5 matchup between Mount DeSales and Loganville Christian. We haven't really seen Mount DeSales play this far in the tournament in a while. And then the battle of 2 teams 2 years ago who were both members of the GHSA. Athens Christian, the number 1 overall seed, taking on Tallulah Falls. I'm really looking forward to that matchup as well. Athens Christian has got a couple of D1 players. In fact, Marlene Malimba she's averaged like 20 and 10. She's been phenomenal. But I'm looking forward to all these matchups, and they're going to all be at Stratford Academy.
I agree, Richard. So I look forward to seeing that. Now, let's talk about the boys. Loganville boys take down Tatnall as they go to 12-11. They beat the region champ Tatnall Square, who goes to 15-10 in a good one. They will take on St. Anne Pacelli, the number 1 seed and defending 2-time champion. Number 4, Bethlehem Christian will take on number 5, Tallulah Falls. Tallulah Falls goes to 15-10. They took down Brookstone in the playoffs yesterday. Rich, Kings Academy, the number 2 seed, who has a record of 21-7. They're the only 20-win team in the 4A classification. They'll take on George Walton. George Walton had no problem with Mount DeSales as they go to 17-9 on the year. And a major upset we saw here, Richard, Fulton Science out of Atlanta goes to 16-13, takes down Calvary Christian, who had 18 wins and was tied for second most wins in the 4A classification. They go down, and Fulton Science will take on Athens Christian. St. Anne Pacelli Loganville is at 3 at Stratford. Then Bethlehem Christian Tallulah Falls at 4:30. Kings Academy George Walton at 6, and Athens Christian Fulton Science at 7:30. Rich.
Yeah, I got this one wrong. I actually had Calvary beating Fulton Science and possibly running the table against Athens Christian. All winnable games for Calvary Christian, and possibly could meet Pacelli possibly in the state championship. But they just were running into a team that just got hot. Fulton Science had shooters, and Calvary Christian had a 4-point lead with about 3 minutes to go, because I was there on the call. And they went 0 for 5 from the field, and they just could not close it out in regulation, and they lose to Fulton Science in double overtime. By far, this is the biggest upset of the tournament, because I seriously thought Calvary Christian could make it to the championship as a 6 seed. But now Fulton Science taking on Athens Christian. I'm interested to see if Fulton Science is continuing to get hot. They're going to have to get Lopez involved. He is a big man that I don't know if Athens Christian has got size, but Fulton Science has got shooters. And Lopez is that 1-6-7 player that could be that post player that could dominate. So I'm interested to see that matchup. I think it's Pacelli versus the Field Thrift. The 2-time defending GIAA champions have been rolling. They're the number 1 team for a reason. And I think that they got a pretty easy path, especially when they don't have to face Tatnall or they don't have to face Cristo Rey. Those were the 2 schools that they were in the Final Four last year. So we have only 2 teams left that were in the Final Four last year, as Tatnall got out in the first round, and Cristo Rey didn't even make the playoffs.
I agree, Richard. So I'm looking forward to seeing how and again, I know you harp on last year, but really that's why they play the game year in and year out. This is what happens. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up. It's Inside the GIAA, presented by the Beck Center here on GIAA.tv.
This copyrighted broadcast, presented exclusively on GIAA.tv, is copyrighted by the Georgia Independent Athletic Association, a division of the Georgia Independent School Association, for the private use of our audience. It may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the Georgia Independent School Association.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
GIAA.tv now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.tv Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.tv Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.tv Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.tv Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.tv Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.tv.
Welcome back, everyone, inside the GIAA, and looking forward to being at Macon this upcoming weekend, Friday and Saturday, Richard, live from FPD, Tattnall, and Stratford. Games are all starting at 12 o'clock at Stratford and Tattnall and 3:30 at FPD. Stratford and Tattnall got 6 games going. You can go and look on the GIAA sports.org website. Go to basketball, click on brackets, and it tells you what time and what place that they play at. And, Richard, we look forward to being there. We're going to be on GIAA.tv, $24.99. $24.99 to watch 32 games. It's less than $1 per game for the entire weekend. It's a great, fantastic deal, and have access to all the coverage from elite play-by-play. We're going to give you, unlike anywhere else, it's GIAA.tv is the website, $24.99. is the cost, and we look forward to being in Macon for those quarterfinals. Richard, we got some athletic directors of the year, and we're going to say congratulations to Mark Whitley, the overall winner for the entire GIAA from George Walton. Also, congratulations to Kirk Hoffman from Flint River in the 1A classification, David Byrne from Southwest Georgia in the 2A classification, Brett Martin from Valwood in the 3A classification, and in the 4A classification, our good friend Greg Moore from FPD. Looking forward to seeing those guys being recognized. Congratulations again. Kirk Hoffman of Flint River in the 1A classification, David Byrne, 2A classification from Southwest Georgia, Brett Martin from Valwood in the 3A classification, and Greg Moore from FPD in the 4A classification. The overall winner as the overall athletic director of the year, Mark Whitley of George Walton. So congratulations to all 5 of those men on their leadership at our schools in the GIAA. And we are glad to support in what they do for student athletes on a daily basis. Any other thoughts, Richard, before we get out of here?
Well, I'm just looking forward to making my way down to Macon for the quarterfinal matchup. I cannot believe we got 32 games. I'm excited. I'm going to be at FPD on Friday, and then I'm going to be at Tatnall on Saturday.
All right, guys. Well, we want to say thank y'all so much for watching, and we've had a lot of fun. We'll be live again next week after Saturday. Guess what? We'll be giving you next week Final Four coverage starting on Tuesday, and then each day we'll come in and recap what happened the previous night at 12 o'clock on the GIAA Facebook page, YouTube channel, and on GIAA.tv, giving you the ultimate coverage in the Final Four at ABAC. Rich will be there. I'll be live from Columbus State on Wednesday and Thursday, so we'll be doing live hits from each location, and then we'll be live on Friday and Saturday for the state championship. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you next time on ITG.